We are now in Hanover coal mine, which is in the north of Bochum, a bit isolated from the city. The mine doesn't look like a mine at all, it looks like a medieval castle. Actually, there's a reason why it looks like a castle. The truth about why it looks like a castle knows the director of the museum, Mr. Dietmar Osses.
The shareholders who had to pay for this building had to know it will a long date, it will produce money for a long phase, but you must see for the first years you have to spend money on it and get your money back later. So they wanted to be proud of the building and show the strength of the company with that.
This strategy was surely worth it, given what we have today. A castle like mine.
For this building used more than 2 million bricks to build it up. And it's very typical, this type of architecture for the winding towers built up from the 1850s to 1870s.
The museum is not very big compared to others in the area, but it actually is the place where the miners worked and gives the sight of the era when the mine was functioning. You really have the feeling of how it all was happening, how workers lived, and they lived nearby, by the way. Their houses are now the property of the museum as its integral part. Here these children are being explained how the work started and finished for the miners. This means stop the work. This means that something is wrong. And this means continue with the work. Under the building is the mine, which goes 750 meters down.
You're going down with a winding machine down in the earth, and you have these different levels, and the work of the mine is going on there.
The under-earth world can also be called industrial time machine. It started from the ground level and went down deeper with time.
From the very early times, there you have wooden structures to hold these tunnels, so to say, and you have the horse working with the coal. And down in the earth you have the modern years with it's like a tube station.
The importance of the museum is not only for the vibe of history.
It's really important even for elevators in skyscrapers. This first invention for this winding system, winding all the machine, was done here in 1877.
The winding system consists of the winding engine and the elevator, which is processed by the engine. It had to be strong and big enough to take out tons of coal from the underground, which then was carried away in wagons. Today the engine is usually silent. The system is on only for special occasions. Thanks to Mr. Osses' hospitality, I had the chance to witness and experience this huge hard metal in function. No doubt the experience is big as the engine. And to think about when it was built, 1893, stamped on the machine. The driver of the machine or the controller has full control of the elevator. This indicator shows where the two elevators are. Yes, this huge machine, if we think globally, is a mechanical elevator. These huge engines were used before the electronic elevators appeared. The first electronic elevator was built in 1880 by Werner von Siemens, the founder of Siemens Company. The mine has also a story.
Figure, symbol figure, a ghost who is living here, and this is a ghost. He wrote this book made up from the paper you wrap your bread you're carrying with you. So, and it's written with coal. He explains the everyday life, the workers mining here, animals living here, the mice. And then we have the very important scene. They are having the break and talking about the problems and the feeling they have in their everyday life. So we have different types of people here. And one is coming from Poland, and he has problems with the German language. So we have the issue of migration here too. And then the horses who worked in the mine, the industrialization with machines working, which were invented here, and of course the closing down of the mine, because the people, the children have to know that the mine is not still working, but they too urgently need a happy ending. So made a new life of the Hanover Quarry with the special mine and shaft made up for the children.
The mini-mine for children is built not far from the museum. It has the exact same features that has the real mine, and the purpose of it is to teach the children how the mine worked.
When they come here, they first get an introduction in the topic of mining. When they see the building appears to them like an old medieval castle. The second step, we explain the jobs the coal miners did, and the second step we go in the original site, and they have the expression of these huge buildings. They are not used to see such structures and sounds. Third, they go there and then they can realize everything we have learned before we can do on ourselves, and then they do it.
Children here learn by playing. They learn not only mining specifics, but also learn a special type of teamwork which was practiced in coal mining.
With a team from 5 to 10 people down to the coal mine, picking up the coal, and you have to solve every problem you have, and you have to make your money.
The only difference is that the money is not real money, and instead of coal, it's actual rock.
These are our 3 worker houses.
The worker houses were built by some workers themselves in 1890. They lived in these houses and also rented the rest of the rooms to other workers to return their investments back. Today these houses are property of the museum and are uninhabited. They're open only for special occasions. But as I mentioned before about the hospitality of Mr. Osses, we have the opportunity to see the houses from inside. Old houses of mine workers, the way they actually were.
First paintings made up in the 1890s. So this is the original color, the original structure, the holder of this house kept for the wall.
The intention of the museum worked very well by keeping the original colors and other features of the houses. They succeeded in giving the vibe and feeling of the time and environment where the miners lived and how they lived.
In this house we have 9 rooms. And we had 8 families living here, so it was really close living together.
The families could hear the neighbors' voices through the doors and the walls.
Every room has a door to the neighbor room and a door to the middle.
But I noticed that every door and every wall seemed to be slightly, well, uneven, in fact, hooked.
You have no right angles because from the huge amount of coal torn down from the earth, you can see that the whole building sunk to one side.
Ach so, this is a great example of why one shouldn't dig under his own house, even if it's gold he is after. Otherwise the house will look like this.
If you look at the stairway, you can see everything is not in the right angle, and that was a problem aroused at the first 20 years. And because it was caused by the mine, the owner of the houses went to court and wanted to have some money, and the miner company decided to buy up all the houses in this area to get free of going to the court.
The miners planted a garden in the back of the houses. Men worked in the mine and their wives nursed the gardens.
The garden was very important to get enough food, enough fresh food to save money to do the food on your own. And that's why we rebuilt this typical kind of workers' garden. You can see peas, you can see potatoes, and so on.
Apart from vegetables, they raised animals.
Normally, the miners had chicken, they had rabbits, and each family had a pig.
One of the residents' favorite activities was organizing competitions.
They used to run races and bet on them. It's in the end of the 50s, and the men are sitting there. They are waiting for the arrival of the doves from the race, and he's dotting in the sky because he can see that one of his doves is arriving, and so he hopes to get the prize money for that.
In the beginning, the miners working in the mine were from the neighboring area. In the first 10 years of the mine, the number of workers went up from 40 to 150. 20 years later, the number got up to 1,000, and then more than 7,000. There was a shortage of employees, so the migration began in the 70s, when a huge amount of immigrants came from Poland.
The night before the First World War, we had more than 500,000 Polish workers living here in the Ruhr. And you have to know that the city of Bochum was the cultural capital of the Polish people.
So this was it about the coal mining museum, a story of a mine and a story of people. In fact, these type of stories are the basis of the Ruhr district. Ruhr has evolved from being only a river to the most populated district in North Rhine-Westphalia because of the industrialization of the area, which has brought in turn loads of human stories. Today the mines and most of the plants are shut down. Those were the engine of the area. The time has changed and so has the engine of the area. Now it's the people that are the engine.